Good map.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mimi Lichtenstein, and today I am here with Jennifer Virgilio. I knew I was going to say that not perfect. And we are going to, that's interesting. Wait, it's actually, hold on one second. Okay. Hi, I'm Mimi Lichtenstein, and today I am here with Jennifer Virgilio, and we are going to talk all about France. I'm super excited because I've been to France many times, obviously not super recently, but Jennifer is an expert, and I know that she's lived there and loves it, and it's near and dear to her heart. So welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Maybe you could give us little bit of some insight into when you joined Queen of Clubs, your company. What inspired you to do that?
I joined Filippo, who started the company in 2009. I started in 2013 with him. And at that time, we were just selling England. But funnily enough, Filippo and I both lived in the south of France at one point of our lives. And we were starting to get requests for France from our London office. And I just love the vibe of the company. I've known Filippo a long time before that, and that we were a bit more modern in the approach that we had to the business. And because of the requests we were getting for Paris and the rest of France in our London office, we decided to open up the Paris office and sell France, which is an amazing country.
Right. And so you guys cover France, England, Italy. Is that it?
Yes, and Ibiza. And Ibiza.
Of course.
And yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm so excited to talk about France. Of course, as usual, we like to start with a map to get everybody a lay of the land. And so do you want to talk us through kind of the different areas of France? Just a quick overview of, the main parts that people love to go visit?
Sure, absolutely. So looking at the map, most people fly into Paris, and Paris is right there in the central north part. And a lot of people will combine Paris with maybe Normandy for a few days and Loire Valley, which is a bit more south of Normandy. And that's a nice circular type trip. Sometimes they'll do a day trip into Champagne from Paris, or consider to stay in Champagne and combine that with Paris. Then you also have Strasbourg and Annecy over to the east part, which is a beautiful region. And a lot of people will definitely consider it for the Christmas markets, but we're also selling it a lot in summer and autumn, which is a nice time to visit. Then we actually you're just at the Jura region there. And we've never sold this part of France before, but we have 2 requests this year for this part of France. So this is definitely an up and coming part of France.
Interesting. I think there's actually, and it might be in the Alps to the east of that, but there's definitely some Via Ferratas down there, which always pique my interest. So it's an area that I'm interested in going to too, because everybody loves to go to Provence, of course, which is close by. So it would probably pair well with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And of course, there's a lot of national parks in France, and there's a lot of different hikes and climbs and amazing soft adventure or more adventurous experiences that you could do in those parts. Lyon over there also is, the gastronomic capital of France, actually. Not really, it's known as the gastronomic capital, but you also, of course, have Paris and other parts that just have, the most incredible cuisine. But the Burgundy region, a lot of people don't realize how vast the region really is. I mean, from north to south, it's definitely worth even just combining a week there and staying in 2 different hotels to really get to know the region, especially if you're into the wines and the gastronomy, but also some history too, and visiting villages. Then we start entering down south into the Provence region. Down there, Provence, and the south of France, which I always say Provence is Provence, and then you've got the Côte d'Azur, which is the south of France to me. I know a lot of people have their own different terminologies and how they explain the region, but the beautiful thing about Provence is that you have so much amazing countryside villages, and also sea with Marseille. Marseille is an amazing city by the sea. I absolutely love it, actually, and a lot of people bypass it. And the south of France, Côte d'Azur, is just, it's sparkling and stunning and beautiful, and definitely worth, a trip at least once in your life.
And question for you: a lot of people who listen to the podcast or watch the show tend to be families. Many of them with kids, teenagers, college kids, older kids. It seems that Paris is a no-brainer. Everybody wants to go to Paris. I feel like the people who have college kids and teenagers, the south of France is sort of also a no-brainer. You want to go down there and hang out at the beach clubs and do some water sports and go hiking, maybe go into the mountains and, go hiking, do via ferratas. Do you see many people who are families who go up to, the Brittany area or the west coast of France, or is that a little bit more off the beaten path?
I was actually gonna go west and up again and go back through Normandy to Paris and do a circle. But I think that all regions work for families. I have almost 9-year-old, and we took her to Saint-Tropez and Provence this past summer. And she said that she can't wait to go back to Saint-Tropez again. So even though I would think of Saint-Tropez as a bit more of an adult destination, she absolutely loved it. We were on the beach. We were, walking along, the promenade where the yachts are, and doing hikes and things like that from Saint-Tropez. So it could be a very good family destination too. But then also Bordeaux, you've got, if you go west and you do Biarritz and Bordeaux and the Arcachon Bay, that's an incredible, very, very French summer destination, holiday destination for the French, where there's a lot of, off the beaten path areas. Like one of the girls on my team was telling me about this area that she went to this summer because she was with all her French friends, and she would have never had known about it if she wasn't with her friends. So we actually added that to our Duco gallery as an insider tip, as one of our insider tips.
I love that, because it is funny. Sometimes you go places, let's say an American goes to France because they want to be in France, and then you might go somewhere and you might be with a bunch of Swiss, German, Spanish Americans, right? And it's not where the French people go on vacation because they're running away from all the rest of us, and they're on the West Coast. So if you want to be with French people, go over there.
Go there. But also, a lot of the Dordogne above Bordeaux, that's a great combination trip, doing the Dordogne region with, we have, pre-COVID, we had sent a lot of families to that region to do the caves and to, outdoorsy again. There's a lot to see in that area. And
go ahead.
No. I was going to go up to Brittany, but please say.
Okay. I was going to say, the first time I took my kids to France, we actually went to the Dordogne and we stayed on a farm with farm animals, and the daily truck came every day to deliver the fresh croissants and baguettes. And it was so much fun for them. And it was actually a great way, or a great place to go after Paris, because in Paris, I was like, hold my hands, everywhere we went. And then we went to this beautiful rural setting, and they could just free range everywhere, and they loved it.
Yeah. We combine that with Paris as well, with families, and it's magical, I think.
I agree.
Brittany, of course, is a very French destination. Lots of French people. They go to the islands, the Ile de Ré, which actually just has 2 new hotels that are opening this year. So this has always been very popular with the French, but we see it becoming more popular with other nationalities as well. Mm-hmm. But also, the Norman coast, the Normandy area. You can very easily combine Brittany and Normandy and not see everything in a week long stay.
You have to make compromises. You're not going to see all of France in a week or even 2. So, and Ile de Ré, by the way, I have a hotel on here that I was going to ask you about later. So I'm glad to hear that we can talk about that. Okay, so Paris. I'm conscious of the fact that we only have so long to talk today, so we're not going to dive into all the different areas. But for those on the podcast, we're looking at a map. The right bank is obviously sort of above the Seine. The left bank is below the Seine. And there's kind of, distinct differences between the neighborhoods and the feel. And if we had more time, I would ask Jennifer to go into to what those are. But for now, maybe you could just give us a little bit of an idea. We'll talk about hotels. Tell us about some of your favorite hotels and where they are, and I'll pull up some pictures.
Yeah. La Réserve is probably my favorite 5-star palace hotel in Paris. It's just this little hidden gem boutique hotel right off the Place de la Concorde, but hidden away near to the American Embassy, but in the 8th arrondissement. So it's very well located. And it's just beautiful. And even in October, I was in Paris and had lunch there, and, height of COVID, but it was so stylish and so elegant. And you just have, such amazing people around you to people watch, and, it just exudes an incredible feeling every time you walk in there. And what impresses me the most is that the service is genuine. From the minute you meet the doorman, it's a genuine care and hello and greeting. And it's always like that. It's consistently like that. So that hotel really stands out for me.
By the way, for all the people who aren't watching, who are listening, the picture is of a beautiful junior suite overlooking the Eiffel Tower. So this is one of those hotels where you can get a view of the Eiffel Tower if you know which room to book. Yeah.
And then in the 5-star category, but not palace category, because there's a differentiation in France of a palace hotel versus a other star-rated hotels. So this is a 5-star boutique property in the Saint-Germain-des-Prés area. And I love this hotel because it's a boutique hotel, because of the neighborhood, because of the location, because they have these garden suites like this picture that you've posted here right now. And it's on a very quiet street. But as soon as you go to the main street, you're right in the hustle and bustle of Paris living. So you've got the patisserie, you have the boulangerie, you have the great shops, the little vintage shops too. So you're really in the thick of it, but it's like its little haven, very close, just right off the main thoroughway there. So I love it. I love this hotel. And
I love this terrace overlooking the garden, because I do think when you're in a city hotel, to have something like this is so special and unique. It's sort of like having a rooftop pool. You can escape the urban environment and go retreat back to your room and feel like you're not in the middle of a huge city.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Agreed. And I love this picture of the Hôtel Lutetia, just because they have a very cool bar. I could see myself sitting down there to have a glass of Burgundy.
So I was lucky enough to stay here a few years ago. Oh, no, about a year and a half ago, well, just before COVID probably. And I couldn't believe how much I loved it. I was really worried that it was going to be too modern. And instead, they really kept that. They really balanced the feeling of it in such a nice way. The breakfast was incredible. This bar is gorgeous. There's the frescoes on the ceiling, the artwork. It's just a really great combination of old and new and elegance, and just very, very well done. Really well done.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And here's another left bank one, what's your opinion on families, again, with like teenagers, college kids, young adults, left bank, right bank? I have my personal favorite, which is Saint Germain. What about you? What do you think?
I think it depends. I tend to say like right bank maybe for first timers, left bank maybe for people that are more comfortable traveling. Maybe they really want to embrace the local culture and really feel like they're in Paris and feel Parisian. So I think it depends. I think also it depends on the room sizes that they need, how many kids are in the family. Because room sizes do become, something that we have to look at when we're selling hotels in France, and especially in Paris, because some of them can start at, less than, 200 square feet. So we have to be, it could be a delicate issue if you have 3 kids. They won't let you have 3 kids in a room. So, and a lot of these hotels don't have connecting rooms either. So there's a lot to consider. But if they, we also work with apartments too. So if a family really wants to, immerse themselves in the destination and the culture, then staying in an apartment and going to the market yourself and getting your croissant and your baguette and doing all of that yourself, that you really do live like a local.
Mm-hmm. And there's no rule that says you're cooking 3 meals a day. You can still go out to eat.
No, you can still go out to eat.
Yeah.
Or we can have a chef come to your apartment and cook for you or do a cooking class for you. So there's a lot of options there. But it's a nice way to explore and really, like I said, immerse yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next one goes into our over-the-top category. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at, and tell us about the hotel.
So this is over the top. I mean, that terrace, when you're on that terrace, you really feel like you're touching the Eiffel Tower. It's as if like you're next to each other. It's such an incredible, massive, beautiful space, and with incredible views of the city. But you're like, look at this picture. you're really at the Eiffel Tower right there. So there's really no other suite that I can think of in the city that has this incredible outdoor space and this, incredible view.
Mm-hmm. And so this is the Shangri-La, correct?
This is the Shangri-La. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yes, I could see having a cocktail party or just coming home from a day of touring around. And
I was there one day, and they were doing a shoot in the hotel with a fashion brand, and it was just so chic and cool.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a good point. We'll probably all notice in some fashion magazines that there might be somebody standing on this terrace for a view.
I'm sure.
And then here's another stunning. Tell us about which hotel is this? And
this suite has my heart, I have to tell you. So this is the Plaza Athénée, and that picture window, it perfectly, has the picture of the Eiffel Tower. And I was lucky enough to stay here one night when I was, we went to the Roland Garros, again, 2019. And we came back after a long day, and we checked into the hotel, and I was able to have my picture with, in the picture window with the Eiffel Tower like that. And I just think, wow, this is magic. Absolute magic. This suite is stunning. And
it's not the only room that has the view, right? I think this is the same.
No, they have a few like that. And they take the window and they put it like with a beautiful frame. So they frame it as a beautiful picture, natural picture.
Mm-hmm. Stunning. We have another over-the-top category. This is view. Yeah. So this is Le Maurice.
I haven't seen this suite at Le Maurice, actually.
Okay, well, it was on my list. I've not been in it, but it's on my list of over-the-top suites in Paris for when I need that list. It's obviously a little bit further away than the other one, but again, it has this huge.
The nice thing about the Le Maurice is, it's a completely different viewpoint perspective. You're in the first arrondissement. You're right across from the Louvre and the Tuileries Gardens. Mm-hmm. So all that green is the Tuileries Garden. Mm. And then you've got that direct viewpoint onto the Eiffel Tower, which is really amazing. Le Maurice is a very iconic hotel. It's a sister hotel to the Plaza Athénée. I haven't seen this suite, but it's an incredible, massive terrace.
Yes, with a lot of greenery.
Great party.
Absolutely. I could see having a cocktail party there. Maybe for an anniversary or something. That would be so fun. Okay, we're going to transition out of Paris for a few minutes and look at one of, I know both of us love, it's so small, my picture. But tell us a little bit about, so we're down in the south of France right now. Tell us a little bit about the Hôtel du Cap Eden Rock.
I'll never forget, and my visit to this hotel, my first visit to this hotel was just a wow moment. And when your heart goes, it just your breath is captured, and it's such an incredible location. It's such a grand building. And I remember the story of the owner and his wife. They were on a boat, and she says, "I want that," and he bought it for her.
Really?
Yeah. So those were the days, I think. But this hotel is just it's an icon. It's an absolute icon. And I mean, when you think of the Cannes Film Festival and the parties that go on here, and you think of the jet set that have passed through here over the years, and just look at that pool. I mean, you're on the glittering coastline of the Côte d'Azur. It's magic. It's really magic. You can eat lunch here, and you can just while away all day, and you just can't get enough of this view.
I agree. I think the cool factor, the chic factor of just sitting on one of those lounge chairs overlooking the water with your cocktail, you can't beat that. Now, I will say that having tried to book a client there right before COVID happened for a summer, that a lot of their guests are repeat guests and they come back the same week every year for the summer. And so it's extremely hard to get a room there in high season. So number one,
they have a 5-night minimum stay as well.
Yes, and you want to plan really far in advance, and it's probable that your first time showing up, you're not going to be getting the prime week of the summer, that's for sure, because somebody else has been coming there for the last 50 years or something, right?
Very true. Very, very true. You're lucky to get in the summer.
Right. And I will say, by the way, for as far as locations go, so the Eden Rock as well as the Four Seasons, they're both on peninsulas sort of jutting out into the water. So the views from all over are absolutely stunning. But then there's obviously lots of other beautiful hotels. Here's one of them. I think this is one that you like too, right?
Yes, very much. I love everything La Réserve does, actually. This is in Ramatuelle, so it's not quite inside Saint-Tropez, but not far away. They have their own beach club as well. Beautiful, beautiful views. They have some amazing terraces too. They have some incredible suites with terraces, and they also have a rooftop restaurant that was very, very cool. Look, I didn't eat there, but I went up there last year and it was very cool.
And you know what else I like about them, and I got this from their website, is so this is the location. And given that a lot of my clients are active, I love that they had pictures of people sort of running along the coastline as they were out and about from the hotel.
This is very similar to what I hiked last year when I was there.
Okay.
And it was a great walk. It was a fantastic walk along the coastline on the other side of Saint-Tropez. So there's a lot that you can do outdoors, nature outdoors here.
And we'll talk about experiences in a little bit, but I definitely think being on the water down there where you can go on a boat or just do stand-up paddleboarding and such just makes it a really fun complement to Provence, Burgundy, Paris, and all of that.
Yeah, we did parasailing when we were there, my daughter and I.
Love that. Okay, so now you might get all teary because I'm going to bring up one of your favorite places. So tell us about which suite this is and which hotel.
So this is the Hôtel de Paris in Monaco, and this is the Princess Grace Suite. And I had the honor, I'll say, of living in Monaco for a little over a year. And this, everything in Monaco is Princess Grace. I mean, she was just such a special woman, and everybody adored and loved her. But the fact that SBM owns this hotel, and the prince donated pictures and letters and memorabilia of his mother to the hotel and for this suite. So when we entered the suite on our site inspection, it was probably the most beautiful site inspection I've ever done in my life. I was very emotional, and you get chill. I get chills thinking about it. They had music playing. They had the TV reel going of events that Princess Grace had attended, and pictures of her elegant or casual and through her life. It was a through her life reel. And I could just stand there watching it over and over again. It was that beautiful. But then everywhere you go in this amazing suite, there were her personal letters. There were, with her own handwriting, and her pictures of her, intimate pictures of her, not the portraits that were made of her. So, and the view, I mean, you're looking at the view here of the port of Monaco, the main port of Monaco, and the palace over there. It's just breathtaking. It's mind-blowing how gorgeous this is.
And it's not just the terrace that has the beautiful views, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have some incredible suites. I mean, I've never seen suites as incredible as the ones that this hotel has, really. It's a huge wow.
Yeah.
It's just renovated, and I was lucky enough to stay there in December 2019, and the service was impeccable. The suite, the rooms, the suites, they have everything that you can think of and more. The location is right on Casino Square. You can walk to restaurants that are amazing. You have in there the 3-star Lan Ducasse right on the Casino Square. So it's a wow.
It's a wow. if anybody wants to impress someone, if anyone wants to get engaged or are interested in splurging a little bit, that's the place to go.
This is the place, definitely.
And I know you and I talked about before the show, Provence, and how many amazing hotels there are in Provence that it's hard for you to have your favorites bubble up. You know, I know there are a lot of Relais and Chateau, obviously, in France that are, you know, beautiful and have beautiful food. There's obviously, you know, little villages. I remember we went to Gordes and Aix-en-Provence, and, you know, it's almost, you have to look at what's the vibe you want to have of where you're going to stay. Do you want to be in a bigger place like X, or do you want to be in a smaller place? How do you help people decide where to stay?
We ask a lot of questions because I think it's really important to know who you're booking and who you're working with, to know their family dynamics, to know what's important to them, to know if they want to have a car or take taxis to leave the hotel at night to go out to dinner, or do they want to walk in a town? Do they want to be in Avignon or Arles or Aix-en-Provence or Gordes, for example, or do they want to be in a countryside chateau and either stay at the hotel or, you know, try other restaurants? And, you know, we have to think about all of those types of logistics. And the Provence region, for example, is very spread out. There are some, you know, if you're going from one to the other, it could be a 2-hour drive in some instances. So you really need to consider the location and to really know what the client's vision is of their vacation and how they want to
spend their time.
Yeah. I mean, there are some amazing chateaux. There are, you know, some that are catering to families, some that don't allow children. I mean, it really depends. So it's the more information, the better.
And I have a question for you about Corrido, who I had Carlos on the show a while ago. He has a property, Hotel Lily of the Valley. Are you familiar with that one? Yeah. So I know it's a wellness destination. When I was on their site, I was looking at it, and it definitely seemed a little bit for people who were, let's say, trying to get in shape and lose weight. But is it really that, or is it more of like a sort of destination spa place?
I think it's a bit more than that. I don't think it's just that. I think it's somewhere that I want to go very soon. Yeah. I didn't get there last year because I was with my family. But I want to go there and stay there and do the wellness aspect of it, but not just for the weight loss, just for the rest, you know, recharge. But it is in a beautiful part of nature and a beautiful part of the coast. So I think that there are other elements to it as well. If you want to party in Saint-Tropez, maybe it's not that.
No, I wonder if you should go there first or second. Probably second.
Second, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, so let's transition a little bit to a couple of new hotels. I have just a few pictures of one that I know is highly anticipated. The hotel that is now essentially, where is it within Versailles? It is literally a part of Versailles, correct?
Part of Versailles, yes. Yeah. It's on the grounds. It's a part of Versailles. It's 14 rooms. It just opened on the 1st of June. We had somebody go see it today. One of our guides took we had a travel writer today, and our guide was able to get her in, even though her media person couldn't get her in. So she had a real tour of the place today, and it just seems magnificent. I wanted to go myself last weekend, but I couldn't get, it was just too much. And I wanted to do more of that trip. So I'm going to do it in the next couple of months for sure.
Okay. Look at the bathtub.
I know. I think this is pure magic. What they're doing is very unique because they're also giving you behind the scenes tours of Versailles as being a guest at the hotel. So not only are you living like a king and queen from the past, but you're also getting to experience parts of Versailles that are not open to the public, or that you have to pay a lot of money to open those doors. So I think this is definitely going to have a waiting list. We've already been booking it a lot. We've already had many people, pre-booking.
Okay.
For September, October. So I think if you want to do a wow at the end or the beginning of a trip and stay a night or two, I think this is special. And you can combine it with Paris. You don't have to just go to Versailles for the day. You can stay there for a night. They do have a minimum stay for Friday night, 2 nights, but otherwise it's a 1 night minimum. And even on the Monday when Versailles is normally closed, they can get you in.
Perfect. We love that. We love having exclusive access to places. And then tell us about a couple of the other ones. I know the Delano is opening up. What else are you eagerly anticipating?
I am super excited for a few, actually. Cheval Blanc in Paris. I think that is going to be very cool. I love the location of it, although a lot of people say, oh, I think the location is fabulous because it's closer to the going toward the Marais, and it's right on the river. So it kind of has the same perspective as the Maurice, like we saw the terrace of the Maurice. It kind of has the same perspective, but it's further from the Eiffel Tower going down the River Seine. So I am very, very excited for that. It's floor to ceiling windows. I did a hard hat tour of it. They should be opening, I think, in the fall. But I think the date is still TBC, but that's going to be very special. Okay. The other one is the Bulgari is opening in Paris as well. So that will be another one to look out for. We've also got in the Riviera this summer, the Mayborn Group is opening in Roquebrune. And that was an existing hotel that they've taken over and that they've completely renovated. And I cannot wait to see this hotel. It's so if you're in Monaco and you're looking at the sea, it's going the direction is to the left, so it's to the west. No, to the east. But okay. It's going to the east and going on the way to Italy. But you go like up a winding road and you go high up to get there. So you're going to have an amazing view of Monaco and the sea in front of you, and it's on your way to Menton and then to Italy. So it's a very kind of unknown town. When I lived there, I used to go there for dinner, not to that hotel, but to a restaurant over there. So I know the area. So I'm really excited for that. I think that will be interesting. And then these hotels in the Ile de Ré, one of my team is going to stay there on Monday. So the lucky one she's the lucky girl that gets to leave the office for 2 days and get to see these hotels in the Ile de Ré and stay and experience them. So that's going to be exciting.
By the way, so Ile de Ré, that came up before. It's a remote island off of the West Coast. Who goes there? Like, why would somebody want to go there? Because it's off the beaten path. What's it known for?
Outdoors activities, hikes, sailing, oysters, fishing, all of those types of summertime outdoors activities. Okay. I don't want to say it's the Hamptons of France because it totally isn't. It's much more barefoot, so it's the French people that really go there right now. But it's definitely an up and coming destination because we just had our first request for it from an American.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I think for people who are interested in staying a little bit more away from the crowds for a while, that it could be a great spot, right? Absolutely. And somewhere new. You've been to France many times before and you want to try something different. That's a great place to try, right?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so maybe let's dive into some cool experiences and places. You let me know when, I know I have some of your photos, so let me know when there's one that you want me to show. But I thought this was really cool. I just learned about it the other day, and I said, Jennifer, do you know about this place? And you said, yes. And I said, oh, great, let's talk about it.
Yes.
It's a picture of a tower, which I understand. I think that the shingles essentially are mirrored or very shiny. Tell us a little bit about, what is it called and where is it and why do we want to go to it?
It's Frank Gehry is the architect, and I remember it's in Arles, and Arles is an amazing town, village, town, city in the Provence region. And I remember back in like 2017 or 2018, Andreas and I were driving around Provence, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, what is that? Where did that come from? And it was just the construction mode. And then last summer, I was lucky enough to go and see it for myself. And it's not quite open. It's just opening right now. Yeah. But they did have the warehouses surrounding it that had some museum art exhibits that we were able to go and enjoy. So it's like a foundation of art. It's like an art foundation, basically. So a similar kind of concept to like the Prada Foundation in Milan. But the tower will be open when they open. Right, last year it wasn't, so I didn't get to go inside yet. But seeing it, it's just an incredible piece of architecture. It's really beautiful. And Arles itself, it has a lot of Roman history. It has Vincent van Gogh Museum. It has some wonderful cafes and restaurants and bistro and a new contemporary hotel. So the whole Provence region is really moving toward that contemporary art. Marseille also, there's so much to see in terms of contemporary art in Marseille. It's such a incredible city for art.
And I think the architect actually designed this to evoke the Van Gogh's Starry Night painting. I believe that was kind of what was his inspiration. So obviously Van Gogh is all over Arles. You can also walk by, maybe not eat yet because it might be a little touristy, the Yellow Cafe.
Yes, it's right there, exactly.
I don't remember if we ate there or if we just walked by, but we definitely took a picture of it because it feels very special. And then one of my favorite things to do is simply to just walk around a market, whether I think this one I think is in Paris, but really does every cute little town in Paris have their own market one day a week?
Yes. Yes. It's very much a part of the lifestyle. I learned that very early on when I moved to France, that you don't have a massive refrigerator and freezer. You go to the market every single day and you buy fresh quality products. And that's how you make your meals for the day. You don't plan your week and, go Costco shopping. So I really very much got into that lifestyle when I was living there, and I loved it. Recently, when I was in Provence last summer, I went to the Ile-sur-la-Sorgue market, and it really had everything from the antiques, but to the fresh fruit, the fresh vegetables, the meat, but then clothes and shoes. And I mean, it was a dream. It was my favorite market.
Right. And they make it so chic too.
Yes. And then also the Tuesday, I forget what day of the week it was. I think it was a Tuesday. The Saint-Tropez market was on. So I woke up early. I went down there by myself. I was like, oh, it was, so it's always great. And then Saint-Ouen in Paris. I mean, that is, you can spend a full day there and not visit the entire market. So markets are a very important part of life.
And for me, one of my favorite things to do actually is to go to the market, find one of the guys who's making the roasted chickens and get one of those and a few other fruits and things, and then go have a picnic in the Luxembourg Gardens. That's one of my favorite things to do.
The market in Nice also, they make the chickpea. They make their soca with the chickpea, and you just eat it right there and there. And it's so delicious. That's a great market too.
It's so delicious. It just tastes better than any roasted chicken that I have in the United States. And by the way, right, you could also just grab a baguette and some cheese and make that. This is one of my favorite pictures because I remember being in, I think, Gigondas long ago and seeing what I termed the grape jigglers at the time. It was the first time I had ever seen grapes harvested where, the machine goes down the row and sort of wiggles them off of the vine. And lots of people tell us about, I'm sure there's so many experiences you can obviously have in France related to wine, whether it be at a vineyard, seeing something like this, or wine tasting, or, do you have a favorite, either a favorite winery or a favorite experience related to wine?
So of course it depends on the region, and it depends on what kind of wines that you like. I remember, going when my husband and I took a round the country trip around France. We had done so many wineries in Burgundy that by the time we got to Bordeaux, he was just like, no, I can't do any more wineries. I'm done. But I remember that, we had the French winemakers take this so seriously that it's not like when you go to Napa or Sonoma and you rock up to a different vineyard, do a wine tasting, and you go to the next one right away. This is a very serious, I don't want to say industry. It's a very serious passion for them. that when you come, they want to know who you are. They want you to know every aspect of their winemaking process. They want you to know the history of the family. They want you to taste the wine with lunch. And it's a 3-course lunch or a 4-course lunch, or no, sorry, 3 or 4 hour lunch, because, you know, having lunch in France is a very serious meal for them. You don't just take a baguette and go. You sit there, you have your course, you talk, it's very much a part of their life. So I remember us going around and being hosted by some of these incredible, you know, vineyards and having lunch in their dining rooms and learning about their winemaking processes. That one day we finally said, we happened to run into Époisse, which is a village in Burgundy, and we love the cheese Époisse so much. We used to eat it with friends all the time. That we bought some Époisse, we bought a bottle of Burgundy. We sat in a field like this, and we just had our own impromptu picnic, and it was wonderful. That was one of the best memories.
Right. And we did something similar on bicycles, actually. So that's what I also love about this area. If you're active, you could rent a bicycle, or where you're staying might even have bicycles. They have e-bikes now. It works for kids. It works for adults. It's a great, very low-key way to spend, you know, a day in the French countryside. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So the next one, I've never done this, but I feel like it's like an RV trip in the United States. It's on my list and I really want to do it. So taking a little houseboat, you know, down the river. How many rivers in France can you do this? Are there many or just a few?
There are, oh gosh, that's a good question. I don't know exactly how many there are, but I want to say there's probably 3 or 4 at least.
Okay.
And I mean, there's the river barging that's very popular, and that's really slow travel, but an incredible way to see parts of the countryside that you wouldn't see any other way. Absolutely. And they have the bikes, and some of them even have pools, depending on how elaborate of a boat you want to go. I've seen them, you know, change, what's it called, the canals, when they change from one to the other, the locks, and seeing them do that, it's just incredible. You could really just jump off, go on a bike ride, and still have to come back to the barge.
Right.
That's slow.
It's almost like, you know, it's like a cruise, but obviously it would just be for your family or for your friends. It's a great activity to do with a few couples. And I just love that you get to see so much, but yet you're not unpacking at all, right?
Exactly. It's a really nice way to travel.
Right.
But the only thing about this is that there aren't that many boats. So if you are interested in a trip like this, you definitely have to book very far in advance.
Yeah. We were in, I think it was, forgive my pronunciation, but Castelnaudary down in the southwest of France on our way from the Dordogne into Spain. And we saw people coming through while we were there. And my kids were like, oh, we want to do that. So I think it would be a great family activity, or, you know, a group of adults would be fun too.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been out to Barbizon outside of Paris?
No, I have not.
So this is a picture. We were there, and I was stunned because there's these rocks in the middle of this forest, and the ground is actually sand. So you could see that here. And people would come and they would go rock climbing. They were bringing all their own rock climbing equipment, and they were bringing these big pads that they put under. And you can see the boulders aren't that big, but it is a sport to climb up them. So I just thought, what a cool way. It's probably just mostly French people, but if somebody had a teenager who enjoyed rock climbing or bouldering, it would be a great addition to stopping in Paris for sure. What are some of your other favorite things to do, around the country, whether it be where you get exclusive access or behind the scene tour, or just something that you really enjoy?
So I think for me, one of the most memorable things that we did last summer was horse riding in the Camargue.
Yeah.
We had these gorgeous, stunning white horses, cheval blanc. And we went on like an hour or so long horse ride in the, basically along the coast, but the coast was just sand and some water, and there were all these gorgeous flamingos. It was one of the most spectacular moments, I'd have to say, that we had for me as a family. We also went on a beautiful hike of the Okra, which is one of the villages in the Luberon. So that was really, really special. There was the Okra hike. There's my pictures there. That's the Okra hike.
Okay.
So it was really cool. Very, very, very cool. And I mean, for me also though, you know, I am, the south of France is in my heart. You know, I live there. It will always be, you know, a part of me. And the more that I'm away from it, the more I fall in love with it. There were some gorgeous sunflower pictures. Also the lavender fields, which I forgot to give you the lavender pictures, but we were lucky to see a lavender field at, you know, mid to end of July last year. But also the Eiffel Tower, just every time I see the Eiffel Tower, last year, when I was there in October, I was able to go on the Venetian boat on the Seine at sunset and experience a Paris sunset on the Seine River with the Eiffel Tower getting lit up at night. It was just, it's one of those must-do for me. I mean, everybody's different, of course, but for me, that was one of those must-dos.
Well, I'll add to that. Also, just taking the boat at nighttime to go see the Eiffel Tower from the Seine is magical because the lights come on and they're all twinkly and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, Paris at night.
Yes, I mean, there's just too many wonderful things to do. So obviously, we can't stay on the phone all day or on the call all day. So I wanted to add in sports. A lot of American kids really like European football leagues, soccer leagues. And we were lucky enough to be there for, I think it was a World Cup when France maybe played Portugal. I took my kiddos out to a bar with our friends. Our friends live, they're actually Italian, but they live in Paris. And we went and we watched the game. And it was quite funny to see the kids getting into the spirit. Unfortunately, Portugal won, so there was a lot of Portuguese people standing up on tables, spraying champagne everywhere. But it was super fun.
I'm not a football fan, but we sell a lot of football. And I remember a few years ago, Paris Saint-Germain, they won something big. That all of a sudden, we were getting so many requests for the Paris Saint-Germain tickets.
Yeah,
we were in Paris, so. That definitely has become popular. I mean, Roland Garros, of course, is always very popular for us. Monaco Grand Prix is very popular for us. But coming up, we have, you know, the Paris Olympics in 2024. I already have requests for it.
Okay.
I think there's also the Rugby World Cup coming. Tour de France every year. And there's a lot that we can do with the Tour de France. And we had some requests even for this year, although... I'm not sure if they're coming or not because of, you know, the current restrictions, but that's always very exciting to see the Tour de France pass through.
I will say we've lucked out a few times. It happened that we were in Paris when the Tour de France ended. It happened one time that we were in Paris. The last night we were there was Bastille Day, so we went and saw the fire.
Bastille Day.
But this particular picture is when we were, I forced my children, I guess I would say, they were kind of little at the time. I said, we're so close. We have to stay to watch the end of the Tour de France. And my husband wasn't with us. So this was like a while ago. So we were texting him to find out from the TV, you know, where are they? How much longer? This was probably well over 10 years ago. So it was just so funny because there's nobody. And then all of a sudden there's everybody.
I know. I was lucky enough to catch it once in Monaco and it was really cool. Very, very cool.
And so I think for people who are designing a trip to France, you know, think about some of these things that you're going to bring your kids. We didn't even talk about museums, but to the Louvre, to the Musée d'Orsay, to the Rodin Museum, you know, you got to throw in a few things that naturally your kids are going to want to do. That might include kicking a soccer ball around the Luxembourg Gardens or going to see Paris Saint-Germain playing a game, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We always try to think of the dates that people are coming and think about what's on during those dates, and offer those options because, you know, sometimes people don't realize it, but I mean, all of these places are very family friendly and there's always events on.
Right. And even actually, I didn't show, and I don't even know if I have the pictures here, but when we were in France once, I think I might have known about it ahead of time, but we were there and it happened to be Paris Plage. Is that how you say it?
Oh yeah, yes, where they have the banks of the Seine as the beach.
Yes, which was just crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
where did that come from? I don't know exactly where my
And
pictures
also now the mayor of Paris is doing a lot of works in the city. She's really, a lot about sustainability. She's doing one, more bike paths to get rid of some of the emissions of the cars and so on and so forth. So I think by the time the Olympics come, I think we're all going to see a different Paris. Which will be for the better for the world, I think, for the environment for sure.
Absolutely. And so do you think, did Paris Plage start as like a one-time thing and then it just continued, or how did that even start? Do you remember?
I don't remember actually. I'm not sure. I remember it from a couple of years ago that it became something. Yeah, but I don't remember
They literally put up a pool on the side of the Seine, and then and there's a bunch of sandcastles, which I think are sponsored by Walt Disney World because there were some Mickey Mouse ears on them. But for little kids, it's so fun to be in the middle of Paris and have the ability to play in some sand and go for a swim.
Yeah.
By the way, you always have to wear swim caps when you're in public pools, I think, in Paris or in France in general. So there's a vending machine there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a vending machine there just in case. But that was super fun. Well, I mean, we could go on and on and on. How much more can we talk about?
We can stay here all day.
I will ask you one other over-the-top question, or you could probably, there's a range of this, but chartering a boat or renting a boat for the day off of Saint-Tropez or off of the south of France, does it go from little to obviously as big as you could possibly want? And do you have a particular place that you would suggest renting from versus other places for any reason?
I tend to tell, to say this often. Boating in France is more expensive than Italy. A lot of things in France are more than Italy. A lot of people tend to compare the destinations in terms of pricing, but they're night and day different. What I like to say is if people don't have time to actually stay in Saint-Tropez, but they're staying on the Côte d'Azur, then it's definitely worthwhile to have a boat day and go up to Saint-Tropez and yacht up there, go walk around the town, have a beach club lunch, maybe stop along the way for some swims or see the Laren Islands or something, and then go back to your hotel. I think that's a magical day. I think that's, if you're not able to go and see Saint-Tropez by road and sleeping there. Mm-hmm. The Cassis, the Calanques de Cassis are something that is not to be missed. It's a national park. You can have a private boat, or you can go on a group boat, half day, full day. But it's a national park, so they limit the number of people that can go through every day. The boat has to have permission to get in. Mm-hmm. So that's another one that I would say is highly, highly, highly recommended. Great. But yes, the price points start maybe for the south of France, 2,000, 2,500 and up. Okay. Usually, but
the up can go up.
And the up can go up. And the key thing to also know about yachting anywhere really in general is you can't have more than 12 people on board to sail. So if you're a party of 13, you can't go.
You need a second boat.
Mm-hmm. Always. Yeah.
A big boat.
Two boats.
Well, I'm going to pepper you with a couple of questions about your favorites before we get off. One is, tell us about what's one of your favorite cafes, perhaps in Paris?
So I was really wowed. I didn't think I would care for it or love it so much, but I have to say I did. The Brest Cafe for the crepe. I really had a great experience there one day for lunch. Okay. I also have, I remember very, very well, a great bistro dinner that I really loved, which was very close to, it was on the left bank. It was in the Saint-Germain area, Chez Fernand. That was very, very good, very fun, and very typical Parisian. They come around with the board and, everyone's flowing to the outside and everyone's very close to each other. So that was fun. Awesome. And good food, great food.
And good food. Okay. And what about rooftops? I know one of your favorite restaurants, and it happens to be a restaurant that I had a client go to maybe 2 years ago with great views. You want to tell us about that one?
In Paris?
Yeah. Giraffe.
Oh, Giraffe. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, which one? Yes, Giraffe has such a great rooftop, and it's staring right. It's on the Trocadero, and it's staring right at the Eiffel Tower. So, and it's very trendy, very cool, great, very cool people go there. But the view is excellent. The view is so nice. So it's great to go there and be able to get a table outside.
Okay. And then what about another favorite rooftop? I think you mentioned you have a couple.
There's a few. I like the Peninsula's restaurant on their roof, even though it's not outdoors, but they have a beautiful view onto the Eiffel Tower. I had a lovely meal at Les Ombres, which was also a beautiful terrace. It's on the same side of the Eiffel Tower. So it's like it's on your fingertips. So for me, I'm obsessed with seeing the Eiffel Tower, not eating in it, but seeing it.
Yeah.
I think it just exudes Paris to everybody.
Right. My daughter, last time she was in Paris, ate in the Eiffel Tower with friends. I wasn't with her, but the experience itself is also pretty magical. But perhaps you could have a meal in the Eiffel Tower and then a meal on a terrace overlooking the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly.
That'd be a good one. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming to join me today. This has been so fun. I can't wait to go back to Paris. I can't wait to go back to France. We're all eagerly awaiting, the ability to do that.
We opened yesterday, and we had some arrivals yesterday. Americans are allowed in, proof of vaccination, and a negative test.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter how you fly in. You just need to show those documents. And we had somebody arrive yesterday. She texted us from the car and she said, 10 minutes, I was out. So It's really very efficient.
Well, it's funny. It's almost like I don't even talk about those things anymore because they seem to change so quickly. So,
But they changed the rules last Friday for yesterday. So
we got to keep up with them. That's one of the things that you and I do. So we'll be on top of that for everybody. Well, thanks again and have a great day.
Thanks, Mimi. You too. Bye-bye.